welcome to part number 26 of The Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap playthrough. In this part, we are going to beat the game. We are going to save Zelda, defeat Vaddie, and restore the castle to its former glory. We are going to save Hyrule. Now, as soon as you enter the boss door, Vaddie will talk to you, and he says that he has almost completed the ceremony. He says that in 3 chimes of the bell, he will have sucked all of the life force out of Zelda and be transformed into a god. So we need to stop him as soon as possible. Now the game tries to imply that there's some sort of time limit in this area because of the whole 3 bell thing, but there is no time limit whatsoever. It is very scripted when the bells will chime. They chime when you enter the next room and then in the room after that, and it's very scripted. There is no time limit here. You could wait here for 15 hours and nothing would happen. So just take your time with this section. Don't rush, because you need to conserve as many hearts as you possibly can for the final boss, because it's a pretty tough final boss. It can certainly drain your health. It's not the hardest boss ever, but it may give you some problems your first time playing, especially if you don't come prepared, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, before we get to Vaddie, you have to face off against multiple Dark Nuts. Now, there's 3 ways you can take on these Dark Nuts. You can either use Rock's Cape and just fly over them. That works out pretty well. You can use the remote bombs and stun them that way. That seems to work. Or you can use the Pegasus boots to just run right through them. And I find that the Pegasus boot strategy only really works when there's only 1 Dark Nut. I don't think it works well against groups of them, but use whatever strategy you like. I like to use all 3 of them. They all seem to work. I think I used all 3 of them at some point during this playthrough. I don't know. But they all work, so just choose the one you like best. Now, I really don't like these Dark Nut fights, simply because they can last anywhere between 30 seconds and 5 minutes. It really depends on how the Dark Nuts are feeling. Sometimes they just defend against all of your attacks, and it just takes forever to defeat them. But maybe that's just me. Here is Vaddie. He has not completed the ceremony quite yet. He's going to stop and he is going to challenge you. He could just suck in the rest of the life force and become a god, but instead he's going to challenge you. So this is your one chance. This is your one chance to defeat Vaddie and save Zelda. I mean, he's giving you a chance to defeat him. How nice of him. He could just become a god, but he's going to challenge you. So, I really like this ending. I like how it just feels like there's such a danger if you fail. Like, if Link failed here, Vaddie would just become a god and take over the world. It really feels like that if you failed, that the world would just end, and I love this. I love the ending to this game. I think it's one of the best endings in Legend of Zelda history. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Anyways, here is Vaddie. Since he has so much of the life force, he has transformed into this different humanoid thing. I don't know. But in order to hurt him, you need to destroy the 3 orbiting eyes around him. And when you do that, a big giant eye will appear on his chest area. And just hit him with a sword. It's pretty basic. Eventually, the eyes will become surrounded with this evil energy, and you need to use the Gust Jar to pull it off. But it's not too bad. Now, Vaddie has a lot of different attacks. Sometimes he'll throw fireballs at you. Other times he'll use the eyes to make some lasers. He has a lot of attacks. He will transport around the room quite frequently, which can be very annoying, especially when he's vulnerable. When you make him vulnerable, sometimes he'll just transform around the room and you won't be able to hurt him, and that can be time consuming. It's not really difficult in any way, but it can really take up your time, so keep that in mind. He's not the most difficult boss, but the thing is, he has a lot of health. It may not seem like it if you're a person that can swing really fast, but if you if you're a person that can just, that's very slow at swinging your sword, that boss fight can take a long time. Now, after you defeat Vatty, he becomes really angry, and he transforms into his fully powered up form because he can't believe that he lost. So he's going to transform into this new eyeball form, and just look at this. Look at this. How are we supposed to defeat it? Well, in order to defeat this form, you need to shoot these circles surrounding him with arrows, and that will either uncover some red eyeballs or blue ones. Now, the blue ones do not do anything, don't worry about them, but the red ones, if you hit them with all 4 of your clones, and you hit all 4 of the eyeballs at the same time, they will all fall, all the orbs will fall off of him, and then you can hurt him. In this form, it can take a long time, it really can. One thing you don't have to worry about is your arrow count. All of these purple things will have arrows in them, so don't worry about how many arrows you have. You don't need 99 arrows to get through this boss fight. It's not that bad. But when the room becomes really cluttered with all of the purple debris, it can be really difficult to transform with all 4 of your copies and hurt him. So try to get rid of all of those things on the floor. Watch out for falling rocks and lightning bolts he throws out at you. But to be honest, I think this boss is slightly easier than the first part. This boss can be tricky, but if you're careful and cautious and destroy all of the purple things on the floor, you can defeat this boss pretty quickly. Sometimes it may take you a long time, but I think that this boss is pretty easy. It's not too bad. The first time I played it, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. It took me forever to realize I needed to use the arrows to uncover these things. I mean, that's the thing with some of these boss fights. They really don't give you any explanation on what you're supposed to do. It's not so bad here, but later on, you'll see when we get there. It's ridiculous. If you come into this fight prepared by bringing a fairy or a potion and something like that, you should beat him on your first try. You may lose to him depending on how many heart containers you picked up throughout the playthrough, but if you come in prepared, you should be just fine. And after you defeat him, he is just shocked. He is baffled on how you can defeat him. I mean, he was a god. He had all of the light force, and you defeated him, so you are awesome, clearly. You are the hero of the land. So now we have to break the curse on Zelda because that's what our whole quest was for. We have to save Zelda. And now, you know, I really don't want to save Zelda just because of what she did to me in part number 1. You know, I'm still holding a little bit of a grudge, I will admit it, but you know what? We're just going to save Zelda. We're going to do it. Even though I don't want to. I don't want to save Zelda, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do it. Out of the goodness of my own heart, because UAA is such a generous person. He's such a kind-hearted person that he's gonna save Zelda. He's just gonna do it. But what is this? The castle is collapsing. So now we have to escape from the castle because it's collapsing. And so we have sort of an escape sequence, even though there's no time limit, so don't worry about it. Once again, just take your time. You have to go to the courtyard and go through the elemental sanctuary, and all the enemies are gone, so don't worry about it. It's just a leisurely walk through the castle. Zelda will follow you, but don't worry about her. As far as I know, she can't get stuck on anything, so I think she goes the same pace as you do, or even if you start rolling, I think she starts running with you. I don't know, maybe. But before you head into the sanctuary, stock up on arrows and health. We might be facing another boss there. I don't know, maybe. I'm not going to say that we are, but I'm not going to say that we aren't. So, I don't know. Stock up on health, though. You're going to need it. And what's this? What is this? Oh my god, Vatty is still alive, and we have to face him one more time. with all of his power, with all of the power of the Light Force. And I have to say, the music for this fight is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I love this music. It is my favorite final boss theme in the Legend of Zelda series. It is great. Now this fight, the first time I played it, I just could not figure out what to do. This first part, you have to use the cane of flipping things over, and you have to use it on his arms, and I just couldn't figure that out. How are you supposed to know to do that? There is no indication that you're supposed to use that. I don't know how they expected you to figure it out, but just use the cane, flip over the arm, then enter it, and you have to find this thing. I don't know what it is, but you have to find the one that has a eye, and then just hit it with your sword. It will be destroyed, and then one of his arms will go away. It's not too bad. I think when you go in the second arm, it's dark, so pull out the lantern. Yeah, it is dark. And just find the one with the eye and hit it. I don't think you can destroy the other ones. It's not like you would want to destroy them, but I'm pretty sure they can't be destroyed. I don't know, maybe they can be, but I've never really tried. So once you defeat all of the arms, you get to the main portion of the boss fight, which is reflecting these orbs back at him. Now, it is really picky. Your timing needs to be pretty accurate. I don't know, sometimes it just feels like you feel like you got it, but one of the orbs will go in a random direction, and you need all four of them to hit, otherwise you won't be able to hurt him. Now, one of the most devastating attacks in this fight is this lightning attack. Now, it is near impossible to dodge if you have all four of your clones out. And keep in mind, if one of the lightning balls hits one of your clones, it will hurt you too. And that attack does major damage. So try to be in just a solo form whenever he uses that attack. You can cancel all of your clones with R. Keep that in mind, because if you get hit by that lightning attack, it does major damage, and you could easily be drained of all of your health. I died my first time playing this boss because he's just he's definitely the hardest out of all three of the forms, but it's not impossible. As long as you know what to do, you should survive, as long as you come into the fight with a couple fairies, or maybe a few potions if you have that. But sometimes the timing, it doesn't feel right. I don't know, you would have to play it for yourself, but sometimes you feel like you deflected all of the balls back at him, and it doesn't stun him, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sometimes I think that happens. You may die your first time going through these boss fights, simply because you have to go through 3 boss fights, but just practice enough times and you should get it eventually. It's not the hardest thing ever, especially if you've collected heart containers on your way here and a lot of heart pieces. You should be okay. As long as you come in prepared, you should be alright. Once you defeat Vatty, his cap will fall down and you get to use it. No, you don't, but I wish you could use it. I wish you could go into some sort of post-game thing where you had the hat and you could do anything. You could be like, I want 1,000 rupees, and then you get 1,000 rupees. And I don't know, I think that would have been cool, but I guess they decided against it. And look at that! The curse on Eslo is broken! Yes! Finally, we don't have to deal with her anymore. She is transformed back into her human form. Finally, I'm tired of carrying you around, Eslo. And she says that it was a mistake to create that hat, and she should have never made it, which is true. Why would you make a hat that can grant the wishes of the user? You know that's just a terrible idea. You know that someone with a bad mind is going to take the hat and make the world an evil place, and what were you thinking, Eslo? You are so dumb! Anyway, she will give the hat to Zelda, and Zelda will restore the castle and all that stuff, and it's just like, alright, fine. Fine, Zelda, restore the castle, restore Hyrule. I think she makes it so all of the enemies go away in, like, the overworld, I think? If I remember correctly, anyway. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't care for this ending. I like how the end game is set up, where Vaddie is, like, transformed into a god, but I don't really like the ending of the game. I think it's just okay. I mean, it's very typical for this type of game. I mean, it's just, you save the world, everything is good. I mean, it's your typical ending to any type of video game. And look at that, all of the enemies go away. What? Why? But don't worry, after you beat the game, you can save, and then all the enemies will be back. And unfortunately, Eslo will still be on your head. You know, I really hate games where you can't save after the ending and do stuff after the game. Like, you should be able to do some additional things after the game. I don't understand why games feel like they need to not have the ability to save afterwards. I think it's silly, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much. And now that the castle is restored and everyone is saved, Eslo has to go back to the Minish world because the Elemental Sanctuary is closing. If you don't remember, the Sanctuary only opens once every 100 years, and now it is about to close, and so Eslo must go away, and thank God that Eslo is gone. I hate Eslo, I really do. She is so annoying. One of the worst partners in Legend of Zelda history. But before Eslo goes, she's going to give you a present. Yay, a present. What is it? Is it a bunch of rupees? Is it a heart container? What is it? Is it something really useful? No, it's not. It's a hat, which is cool. And this is one of the reasons that the developers kind of made this to be the first Legend of Zelda game in the timeline. This is sort of supposed to be a symbolic scene, like, this is how Link gets his hat. And it's supposed to be, like, symbolic, I don't know. This isn't the first game in the Legend of Zelda timeline anymore. Skyward Sword comes before this, but this game came out much earlier than Skyward Sword did, so it's okay, I can forgive them for that. And Eslo is gone, finally, and you have a hat. And that is the end of the game. Overall, I love this game. I think it's a great game, and I have no complaints with it. In fact, this is my favorite handheld Legend of Zelda game. Unless you count, unless you count the GBA port of A Link to the Past. But assuming that one doesn't count, this is my favorite handheld Legend of Zelda game. This game just does almost everything right. Not everything is perfect about the game, but I just think it's a great game. This is what a handheld Zelda game should be like. I really feel like that the Legend of Zelda series should take this path. All of the console games should be in 3D. And then all of the handheld games should be in 2D. I think that would be perfect, because some people don't really like the 2D Zeldas, and other people don't really like the 3D Zeldas, so why not make the best of both worlds? Why not have both 3D and 2D games? That could work. I think that would be a great path for the Legend of Zelda series. I like both the 3D and 2D games, so I want to see both of them continue. And I think the 3D game should be on the consoles, and the 2D game should be on the handhelds. But that's just me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. It was certainly one of my longest playthroughs. There is still more to this game. I do have an extra video where I cover a few things I didn't cover in the main game. So stay tuned for that. But next time on UAA Plays, I'm going to be playing Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. It's time I give back to the Castlevania series, and some people say that Castlevania 3 is the hardest Castlevania to date, and It's definitely a hard game, but we'll get to it, and I hope you look forward to it, because I'm trying to go through all of the Castlevania games. I'm gonna go through as many of them as I possibly can, except the 3D games, of course. So, simply because I haven't played any of the 3D games, because I don't want to. I mean, I am a 2D Castlevania person. I see no reason to play Castlevania in 3D. It just, that's not Castlevania to me. Castlevania is 2D, side-scrolling, whipping action. And we'll be getting to that next month. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. If you haven't played this game, I suggest you give it a try. I think it's a great game. And I've really heard nobody complain about this game. Most people seem to like this game, and there's really not that many problems with it. I don't know, if you have some problems with it, tell me about them in the comment section below. But that's the end of this playthrough. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, this is UAA signing out. I'll see you guys later.